movie begins with the introduction of a man named Seppala, set in the year 1900. During this time, traveling by sled was common, and sled rides were used to transport goods from one place to another. Special dogs were employed for this purpose. Seppala was also a sled driver and owned a fine breed of dogs that made his journeys and tasks easier. One day, a puppy was born, a Siberian husky. These dogs are typically seen as weak, and Seppala considers it useless since he cannot take this dog on sled rides with the others. He contemplates giving the dog away, but his wife disagrees. She treats all the dogs like her children, naming the puppy Togo and expressing her love for it. She says, "They are dear to my heart, and I don't want to be separated from them. We should give Togo a chance. It is still young. We shouldn't jump to conclusions about it." Although Seppala is reluctant, he ultimately agrees with his wife. As time passes, Togo grows older and becomes quite mischievous, which annoys Seppala. His wife continually encourages him to take Togo along on sled rides. He responds that the dog is too weak now and cannot survive the journey. Seppala gives Togo to his friend, but his wife knows that no one will keep it because it is naughty. The same thing happens the next day. His friend brings Togo back saying, "This dog of yours is naughty, and I can't keep it with me." His wife smiles at this because it is indeed naughty, and whenever Seppala takes his dogs on a ride, Togo follows behind him. Even when he ties it to a fence, it escapes by digging the earth. It runs after Seppala and enjoys playing with the other dogs that arrive. Because of this, Seppala's training is disrupted, ruining what he was trying to teach his dogs. One day, it falls into the water, and Seppala becomes fed up with its antics. He locks Togo in a room, but it somehow manages to escape. One day, Seppala convinces his female friend to keep Togo, but she is strict and insists that Togo must stay in the room. Seppala has no problem with this and leaves, dropping Togo there. After a short time, Togo breaks the window mirror and escapes, reaching Seppala. He becomes worried upon seeing it and notices that its paws are injured and bleeding, so he makes Togo sit on the sled to take it home. Togo resists sitting on it and wants to run with the other dogs. After several attempts, when Togo still refuses to sit on the sled, Seppala ties it to the other dogs. After moving a distance, he notices that Togo is energetic and runs faster than the other dogs, so he ties it in front. Togo quickly takes them home with its speed, and Seppala is both happy and shocked to see how fast Togo ran, telling his wife about it. He even tells his wife that it is a lead dog and he is becoming happy to see Togo. His wife also feels joy at seeing it. Later, Seppala wins many sled races with the help of Togo, and they gradually become famous. Time passes, and now 12 years have gone by. Togo is shown to be older, and one day it returns to its city, discovering that a disease named diphtheria has spread, affecting the children. The kids are losing their lives to this disease, and everyone is worried. The mayor calls a meeting, and Seppala attends, where he informs them that there is an antidote to this disease. It is 600 kilometers away from Nevada, but it is dangerous to go there as a huge storm is approaching. The mayor asks Seppala about the weather, and he replies that when he was returning, the dogs were panicked by the weather. Togo was also getting anxious, which it hasn't done in many years, so we should be concerned if it is. Later, he leaves, and as he comes out, a doctor asks for a lift. Seppala takes him to the hospital on his sled. Upon arriving, Seppala sees many sick children in the hospital, and their lives will be in danger if the medicine is not brought. He gets lost in his thoughts and tells his wife that when he gets home, he will go to get the medicine. He says he will take Togo with him, but his wife reminds him that it is now 12 years old and you said it is not strong. The weather is also bad, and she doesn't want him to be the reason for its death. Then he would devote his entire life to the fact that Togo died as a result of his actions. Seppala doesn't want to go without it, and he leaves with Togo, saying goodbye to his wife. As Seppala moved with his dogs, the storm advanced as well. The wind was so fierce that Seppala couldn't see anything. Togo was in front, and Seppala urged his dogs to press on. They needed to return soon after collecting medicine from Nevada, but he was caught in a deep slide with his dogs, and Togo halted there. Seppala was confused and spotted a huge ditch, which Togo had noticed even in the storm. The dog stopped because of it, and Seppala was saved along with his dogs due to this. Meanwhile, Seppala noticed that Togo's foot was injured and bleeding after their long day of travel. Eventually, Seppala and his dogs reached an outpost. A lady doctor at the outpost informed Seppala that Togo was now 12 years old and had become weak. This long journey was not good for Togo, but still, Seppala and his lead dog Togo pressed on. The condition of the children in the hospital was worsening, and Seppala continued forward with his dogs, taking shortcuts to reach his destination sooner. He spotted a treacherous frozen lake, with the storm approaching from the other side. Seppala remained undaunted and urged his dogs to move across the frozen lake, which shifted beneath their steps. The dogs forged ahead and managed to cross the lake. After a full day of travel, they arrived at a checkpost and took a rest there. Seppala's wife approached the mayor and informed him that the medication had been sent from Nevada and that Seppala would collect it on his way. He was taking shortcuts, knowing his journey would be longer without those medications. Seppala was shown reaching a checkpost after a full day of travel. Togo's condition was worse, but even then, it wants to move forward and lead. Now, the same Seppala was taking his shortcut, hoping to find the man bringing medicine from Nevada. If he doesn't find him, his journey will become difficult. Seppala grows tired, his eyes closing, but his dogs move forward like electricity, and a man appears, coming from Nevada. He possesses the medicine and comes to a halt, but Seppala continues to forge ahead with his dogs. The man calls out to him, but Seppala is lost in the hard wind that blows around them. Because of this, Seppala can't hear the man's voice, but Togo hears something. The man thinks Seppala didn't hear him and moves on. The man sees Seppala returning because Togo has stopped and Seppala has the medicine for which he has traveled so far. Now they stop at a checkpoint and his friend asks him to leave Togo there. I have lost many dogs in those terrible storms. I don't want you to lose your beloved dog, Togo, he says, but Seppala refuses, insisting, Togo is my lead dog and I can't travel without him. Seppala starts traveling again with his dogs. The lake appears in front of them, which he crossed with his dogs yesterday. Now the lake is moving, and if they don't go around it, their journey will be extended by another day. Seppala decides they will move forward this way and asks his dog, Togo, to lead. His dogs begin crossing the lake swiftly. Water surges from the lake, and they risk drowning. Thanks to the speed of Togo and the other dogs, they somehow reach the shore. The piece they need to move forward shifts and separates from the shore. Seppala throws Togo onto the shore and asks it to pull the ice piece. Togo was injured, but even then, it exerts its strength. It brings them to the shore, and now they emerge from the frozen lake. They were trapped, and Seppala miraculously saves his dogs and transports them to a checkpoint. The lady doctor was also there, and upon seeing Togo, her eyes filled with tears. She tells Seppala, your dog is dying, and its condition is worsening. She also makes Seppala upset as he loves Togo dearly. After spending a night there, when he begins his journey, he ties Togo behind. It was sick and couldn't travel. Even so, Togo stands firm, and Seppala understands that Togo doesn't want to rest. It wants to remain in its place. It wants to complete its journey. He ties Togo in front, and they start their journey. After a few hours, the storm worsens to the point that Seppala can't see anything. He can't see the path and approaches Togo, saying, I can't see ahead. Now you have to show us the way and lead us to the next post. Seppala covers his face, and Togo guides them forward. After a while, Togo becomes exhausted and sits down. Seppala approaches it and says, you have to stand up. We need to get that medicine. We will be finished here if we do not move forward to our destination. Togo wasn't responding, and Seppala was happy that he escaped because of Togo, but it still wasn't responding to him. Then a man approached him with a lantern, indicating that Togo had done its job by bringing Seppala to the checkpost, and he felt joy upon seeing this. Everyone was saved because of Togo. Now they went inside as Togo's condition was not well, and a man had been sent by Seppala's wife to fetch medicine while reaching the outpost. He would soon return to the place where the kids were sick. They rested for the night. The man set off in the morning with the medicine. After a short while, he arrived in the city of Nome, where a reporter was waiting for him. The news had spread in New York that a man had embarked on a long journey to bring medicine. The reporter thought that perhaps the man had returned with his team. Now the reporter printed the man's name in the news, omitting Seppala. Seppala's wife was disappointed, and Togo was also recovering. He reached Nome with his dogs. Many people came to thank Seppala and his dogs. The kids also came, who had recovered thanks to Seppala. A girl arrived and asked, upon seeing Togo, if it was dying. Seppala stepped out of his house upon hearing this, with his wife following behind him. He said to his wife, Togo is in this condition because of me. It has been 12 years, and I shouldn't have taken it with me. His wife asks if there is anyone besides Togo who can do this. Seppala falls silent, knowing that none could accomplish this except for Togo. The next morning, Seppala is again shown practicing with his dogs. Observing this, Togo also wishes to join the other dogs and does not want to stay at home. Seppala understands that Togo does not want to pull sleds but rather wants to spend time with him. After some time, Togo recovers and goes on a long journey with his wife and Togo. After 2 years, Togo has some puppies, and many mushers come to buy them. The breed of those puppies is given a new name, Seppala Siberian. Later, Togo dies in 1929, but Seppala continues to train the dogs. Togo was a famous dog in his city. This is Togo's story. In this tale, Togo exemplifies that dogs are the most loyal creatures on the planet. Here, this movie ends.